Welcome back to Rahasya Gatha. If you've been hanging out with us on the channel, you know we've already dropped episodes 1 through 7, and we've been building up to something truly monumental. Today, for episode 8, I'm going to tell you a story. Just sit back and listen, because this explainer isn't just a piece of history, it's a profound look into human nature, power, and restraint. So let's step right into the grand, opulent court of King Janak. The air is practically thick with anticipation. You've got the greatest kings and warriors from across the land gathered for Princess Sita's Swayamvar. The energy is absolutely electric, but as we're about to see, things are going to take a very dramatic turn.
Picture this. King Janak is in utter despair. He's laid out this ultimate challenge, and one by one the most boastful kings have completely failed to even move the bow. His heartbreak just pours out in this agonizing realization. He says, in this entire crowd, not a single true warrior has emerged. Now this statement completely infuriates Lakshman. He takes it as a direct insult to the honor of the Raghu lineage, especially since his brother, the great Shri Ram, is sitting right there. Lakshman is ready to literally tear the earth apart to defend their honor. And Shri Ram? He just sits there, perfectly calm, perfectly composed.
Section 1. The Impossible Challenge. The central condition to win Princess Sita's hand was simple on paper, but seemingly unattainable in reality. Lift and string Lord Shiva's incredibly heavy divine bow.
Part 2. Shri Ram breaks the bow. After getting this signal from his guru, Shri Ram casually approaches Lord Shiva's bow. In one fluid motion, he lifts it, strings it, and snap! He breaks it, winning the victory garland from Princess Sita as the assembly erupts into cheers.
But guys, look at how quickly the vibe shifts here. We go from the absolute joy of the Swayamvar in seconds to the breaking of the bow in minutes. But that physical snap, it released this terrifying, deafening sound that echoed across the world for hours. And moments later, that entire celebration is just shattered. The joy freezes instantly.
Section 3. Lord Parashuram's terrible wrath. The sheer force of that bow breaking completely shatters the meditation of the warrior sage, Lord Parashuram. He storms into the Swayamvar, radiating pure fury, basically threatening to flip the earth and destroy everyone if he doesn't find out who broke his revered deity's bow.
Part 4. Lakshman and Parashuram's dialogue. What follows is a war of words sharp enough to draw blood. It's this intense, escalating clash pitting a sage driven by blinding rage against a fearless prince aggressively protecting his brother.
The contrast between their approaches is wild. On one side, Lakshman leans heavily into biting sarcasm. He's mocking Parashuram, saying, "Hey, we broke plenty of little bows as kids, so why cry over this old worn-out one?" He literally tells this fearsome sage that they aren't fragile pumpkins that are just going to wither away at a pointed finger. On the flip side, Parashuram is hurling deadly threats, screaming about how his notorious axe has repeatedly drunk the blood of Kshatriya warriors.
Parashuram wields the number 21 like a weapon. He proudly boasts that he has cleared the entire earth of Kshatriya kings 21 times, donating the land to the Brahmins. But Lakshman, he's not buying it. He completely dismisses it, telling Parashuram that true heroes fight silently on the battlefield. They don't puff themselves up with empty boasts. Lakshman essentially calls him out for acting like a child, trying to blow away a mountain with a single breath.
Part 5. Shri Ram's divine form. Just as this argument is about to explode into all-out bloodshed, Shri Ram steps forward, and he diffuses this highly explosive situation with profound, grounded humility.
Ram uses this incredibly respectful, clever wordplay. He says, "My name is simply Ram, but you are Parashuram." He reminds the sage that he is just a servant, while Parashuram holds the great axe, the Parashu, reminding him that members of the Raghu dynasty do not raise their hands against Brahmins. Ram actually offers his own chest to appease Parashuram's anger. It's a massive power move, showing that true strength isn't always about striking back. Sometimes it's about absorbing the blow.
Totally confused by this absolute calm, Parashuram lays out an ultimate test. First, he hands over Lord Vishnu's personal divine bow to Ram. Second, Shri Ram takes it and effortlessly strings it. And third, the exact moment the bow is strung, Parashuram's doubts instantly vanish. He finally recognizes Ram for his true divine identity. But here's the catch. Ram has already knocked a divine, infallible arrow, and you can't take a divine arrow back. So he leaves Parashuram with an intense choice. Which should be destroyed? Your movement or your accumulated merits? Parashuram is in a bind. Since he donated the earth to Guru Kashyap, He desperately needs his power of movement to travel back to Mount Mahendra every night. So he begs Ram to spare his mobility, willingly sacrificing his ego, his worldly reputation, and his karmic merits to the arrow.
Part 6. The Lesson of Ego and Maryada. Stepping back from the story for a second to look at the philosophy, the sage Valmiki actually described Parashuram as an avatar of Vishnu himself. He possessed immense power, but that very power bred a totally blinding ego.
The real villain here is ahamkar, or ego. It's literally a blinding force. Parashuram was so wrapped up in his own identity as the ultimate warrior sage that he couldn't even recognize the divine greatness of Shri Ram standing right in front of him. And as Lakshman brilliantly proved by poking at his rage, anger ultimately weakens a person's true strength and completely clouds their judgment.
So what should you take away from this story today? Well, this ancient wisdom is incredibly relevant for our modern lives. Stay calm in a crisis. Recognize that anger is a weakness, not a flex. Maintain restraint and decorum, what we call maryada. Think about your own life for a second. When conflicts pop up at work or at home, applying Ram's calm restraint and emotional regulation can instantly reduce your stress. It diffuses tension and actually fosters a loving, respectful environment rather than a toxic one.
As the great poet Tulsidas observed, Ram maintained ultimate maryada. Even with the bow right in front of him, he waited for his guru's command. He didn't rush out of ego. And this incredible restraint, this deep respect for protocol and timing, moved Sita deeply. Seeing his conduct, she thrilled with love. True power is having immense strength, but keeping it perfectly under control.
Which brings us to a final question for you. How will you manage your own ahamkar when faced with a challenge today? If you enjoyed listening to this explainer of Episode 8, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to Rahasya Gatha. Your support helps us keep bringing these incredible stories to life. Let me know in the comments below, whose approach did you relate to more? Lakshman's fiery defense or Shri Ram's calm restraint? Until next time, stay curious.